Switzerland in winter is pure magic. From snow-covered villages in the Alps to medieval towns frozen in time, Switzerland is a real-life fairy tale. This whole country just looks like a screensaver. And if the views don't melt your heart, the cheese fondue definitely will.
This is one of my favorite dishes in the whole world.
So join us for a tour of 5 of the most beautiful villages in Switzerland, starting with number 1. Welcome to Switzerland, guys. This is Brienz, a traditional Swiss chalet town, but with a twist because it is located along the shores of sparkling blue Lake Brienz. In the background here, we have these incredible snow-capped peaks. And right around the corner is Brungasse, which has been chosen as the second most beautiful street in the entire world. I feel like we just walked onto a Disney set or something. I love the chalets. Apparently this is a woodworker's town, so you have all these beautiful, delicate carvings everywhere. Cowbells in the streets. It doesn't get more Swiss than that.
To start the day off really well, we went to a local bakery and got some breakfast pastries here. Of course, you gotta have the Swiss chocolate. It's a cake with red fruits in it. That's good.
And here we have some apple pie.
That looks good. Apple pie. Swiss apple pie.
Heavenly. What a morning. I read that this water is actually so blue because it is glacial water. It's water that has melted from some of the glaciers higher up in the mountains here. And because there's glacial particles in the water, it reflects the sunlight, and that's what gives it a beautiful color. So in total, we're going to be visiting 5 villages. This first one, Brienz, was just like a quick pit stop because we're really excited to get to the next village. This is Lauterbrunnen, one of the most iconic villages in Switzerland. It's located in a valley of 72 waterfalls and was the inspiration for the town of Rivendell in Lord of the Rings. So this is the most famous viewpoint in all of Lauterbrunnen. Over there you have the famous Staubach waterfall, a 1,000-foot waterfall that just tumbles down these sheer rock cliffs. It looks like a fairy tale, unbelievable. We're going to show you around town now, and then we're also going to try a Swiss cheese fondue. The valley of Lauterbrunnen is just Switzerland showing off. But what about the town? Well, it's pure alpine charm. Cozy Swiss chalets, family-run hotels, and a main street lined with shops and restaurants.
I just really love how scenic this village is. Look at this. Even the hardware store is in a chalet.
Swiss version of Home Depot. Now, Switzerland is of course really famous for a number of things that you can find all over town here. Swiss watches, Swiss knives, and Swiss cheese fondue.
Alright, we have come to the White Stubli restaurant here in Lauterbrunnen, and this is my personal favorite in Switzerland, which is cheese fondue. They put white wine, they heat it up, they melt some cheese in it, a little bit of herbs. The typical cheese fondue they have is called moitié, 2 types of different cheese. They also give you some herbs and a little bit of garlic. I really like garlic. I hate vampires. And then the lady said you have to make a figure of 8. This is just heaven for me. This is one of my favorite dishes in the whole world. Actually, if you lose your piece of bread, then you have to buy the next round of drinks.
The gooiness of the cheese, and especially in this cold weather outside, is so comforting. Okay, now we're going on a little adventure. We're going to take the train. We're heading up to Wengen, a ski resort in the mountains above Lauterbrunnen, where Switzerland's most impressive peaks take over the skyline. Down in the valley, they're kind of far away. When you go up the mountain, they're massive. And we're getting there the most Swiss way possible, by train. Because if Switzerland does one thing better than chocolate and cheese, it's building railways where only goats should go.
We've made it up to Wengen. We took the old cogwheel railway up here.
Down in Lauterbrunnen, the town itself, you're in between these huge cliffs, but here, you're on the mountain. It feels completely different. From the town of Wengen, you get a perfect view of the big 3 peaks. On the left, the Eiger, one of the hardest climbs in the Alps, with a north face that has claimed dozens of lives since the 1930s. In the middle, Mönch. And on the right, Jungfrau, home to the highest railway station in Europe, Jungfraujoch, that sits at a whopping 3,454 meters or 11,300 feet. Honestly, the Swiss were on another level for building this. In 1893, Swiss pioneer Adolf Gruyère decided that instead of climbing these beast peaks, people should be able to take a train through them. His plan was a tunnel straight through the Eger and Monk peaks to Jungfraujoch. And 16 years of blasting through solid rock at extreme altitudes later, they pulled it off. The Alps are steep, but so is Switzerland's commitment to overachieving. Now we're gonna have a look on the main strip of the town of Wengen.
Wow. People are even skiing through the streets here.
Everything here is beautiful.
They're selling eaty stuff.
I want a Berliner Bowl. I want a Berliner Bowl.
Let's get one.
It's only $2.50. This is a Berliner Bowl, which is something that's super popular both in Germany and in Switzerland. It's kind of like if you think of the fluffiest sandwich you can think of, but add a little bit of sugar to it. And then inside, I think there's some fruit filling and some powdered sugar on top.
Now you're starting to look like a cocaine addict. Oh, that looks good.
Fruit filling. You seem to be better at it. And 2.5 Swiss francs. Going into my eyes. People come to Wengen mainly for the skiing, but even if you're just here for a walk, the views alone are super worth it. We're only on our second town, and already, everywhere you look, so beautiful. This whole country just looks like a screensaver. It's amazing. So now for town number 3, we're taking you to Switzerland's most famous village for perhaps even more insane views. This morning we're taking the train to Zermatt, which is world famous and to many people the most beautiful town in Switzerland. This is it, guys. We are in the famous resort of Zermatt. Of course, we're going to show you around the town. We're going to try some incredible food here. But first, we want to start off with what makes Zermatt really special, the Matterhorn. We're going to hike up to a viewpoint. The Matterhorn is Switzerland's most iconic mountain and one of the most photographed peaks on Earth, standing 4,478 meters tall. That's nearly 14,700 feet. The walk to the viewpoint gave us a first glimpse of beautiful Zermatt. We're here! This view almost doesn't look real. It's almost like it's CGI or something. All those beautiful little wooden chalets with like the thick layer of snow on the roof, cocooned inside this valley, and then the Matterhorn, there it is.
Let's try the Swiss chocolate. Second best chocolate in the world. We're from Belgium. We have the best chocolate, of course.
So this is obviously reason number 1 why so many people come to Zermatt every year. Reason number 2, Switzerland is actually known as the playground of Europe. There are so many super fun outdoor activities you can do here, but we know of one in particular suitable to almost anyone. If you're in Zermatt, there's one thing you absolutely can't miss: the Gornergracht Railway. Here's how it works. First, you board a train that climbs deep into the Alps. At the stop called Rotenboden, you hop off and grab a sled. Alrighty, let's do this.
Ready to die, hero.
I feel like I need an introduction to this.
Brake using your feet and don't go too fast. Don't die, it's always good advice too.
Woohoo!
How's it going?
Pretty well, actually.
I came here in the middle of the beast. Move!
When you reach the bottom, you can just jump back on the train and go again as often as you want. After the sledding, the train climbs even higher to the Gornergracht Panoramic Observatory. Up here, you're surrounded by 29 towering peaks, including the Dufourspitze, Switzerland's highest mountain. Now, I know this experience isn't cheap, welcome to Switzerland, but if this is your first time in the Swiss Alps, you won't regret getting these views in. Now, let's get back to Zermatt for some food. Zermatt isn't just about the views, it's a charming town. First off, it's completely car-free, which is why we took the train here.
So cars are not allowed here, but what they do have driving around here are these little electrical buses. The hotels use these to transfer people around because it's pretty steep up here. And they're also pretty cute for a bus, so they fit in all these small little alleyways.
The heart of town is the Bahnhofstrasse. This is where you'll find cozy cafes, high-end boutiques, and shops selling everything from Swiss watches to Matterhorn souvenirs. We found a restaurant that has an incredible view and it's supposed to have some really good Swiss food, so follow me into the Naick hotel. Isn't this super fancy? What the heck? How is this even real?
Cheers!
Cheers! So this is called the Infinity Terrace. It is part of the Chalet Naick. And pataclette.
Wow, it looks good. Thank you. We ordered some food. We ordered some pataclette, which is potatoes filled with molten cheese. It's actually a little bit of a snack version of raclette, which is the dish that people eat here. Usually they take like this big cheese wheel and they put it on this heater and the cheese just melts off. Here they have put it inside of these potatoes. It is really hot, so I'm gonna have to wait a few seconds.
You probably should have waited a few more seconds.
Wow.
And this is Flammkuchen, which is super popular both in Germany and here in the German-speaking part of Switzerland. It's basically like a pizza, but instead of tomato sauce, they use cream. And then on there they put bacon and some onion and a bunch of herbs.
And cheese, of course.
What I love about this, it's like super light and crispy, a little fluffy, but not as dough heavy. Now, of course, a setting like this to have a nice meal in Switzerland is not exactly going to be cheap. To give you an idea of the prices, like I think it's still reasonable. This Flammkuchen is 23 Swiss francs, which is about $24, maybe $25. The pataclette is 13 Swiss francs. One glass of wine is 8 or 9, depending. But don't worry, Zermatt can be more budget friendly. For a cheap lunch on the go, head to a local bakery and grab a quiche, a warm, cheesy pastry that's filling, delicious, and only 5 Swiss francs.
Wow.
For the price of one Flammkuchen, you could put yourself into a full-on cheese coma with these babies. And while you eat, there's plenty to take in around town, like the historic Hinterdorf, literally the back village. This historic quarter is a maze of 500-year-old wooden barns and houses built on stone slabs to keep out water and rodents.
Switzerland has a lot of rules. Probably by the shape of this building, I think this is at least violating 10 Swiss laws. I read somewhere if it's not explicitly allowed in Switzerland, it is pretty much forbidden. So
it's a reminder that before skiing and mountaineering made it world famous, Zermatt was just a quiet farming village at the foot of the Alps. Okay, so we got back to the car. We are on our way to village number 4. The next two we're going to are going to be completely different. First, we're going to a village located in the Swiss canton of Ticino, near the Italian border.
where we just were was in Zermatt, which is in the southwest of the country. We're now going to the southeast of the country, but there are some really big mountain ranges in between, and you usually can drive over them, but in wintertime they're not accessible. So what did the Swiss do? They're like, no problem, we got this. They built a tunnel with a train right through it. Thank you. Thank you. Cheers.
3 more minutes?
1 more minute.
Are we gonna make it?
I don't know. The train's still here. Yeah, he's waving. He's waving.
1 minute to spare. We made it. Look, so we're driving onto a train. Literally driving the car onto a train.
Oh, he's locking the gate behind us. We made it to like 10 seconds to spare.
Woo! We're driving through a tunnel and we're not doing anything.
Crazy if you think about it. I mean, Swiss people, next level.
So this next town that we're gonna go to is very special. Not only is it one of the most beautiful towns in Switzerland, it is also the smallest town in all of Switzerland. In 2013, there were 12 people living there, but a few years later, the number dropped to 9. There's only less than a dozen people.
And they have their own mayor and a town council of 3 people. How funny is that?
We're gonna check it out. What's really cool is the moment you arrive here, you feel like you've gone back in time to like this medieval movie set or something. The town of Coripo has a rich history. It was first mentioned in 1224, so it's over 800 years old. The houses are made of stone, the church is stone, the rooftops are stone, and the whole town stands on a series of terraced walls, also in stone. Even though we're still in Switzerland, this town feels different from any other we've been to so far.
Benvenuto.
Everywhere around you, there are these reminders that you are now in the Italian part of Switzerland, the Italian-speaking part actually. Switzerland has 3 main communities, the German-speaking, the French-speaking, and the Italian-speaking part of the country. So here in the main square, you have the town hall, which in Italian is called Casa Patriziale. And then here you have the church, and there's some religious frescoes as you're walking throughout the town as well, because in Italian culture, religion is a really big part of the daily life. So we're gonna see.
Now, if you've been paying attention, there's a bunch more houses than just 9. But a lot of people who have a house here just coming up here for the summertime, kind of like a vacation home. And there are also a few hotels and Airbnbs that you can rent out here so you can actually stay here. Because Coripo is located in the Versasca Valley and it's a really beautiful area. A little bit further down the road you have the Ponte dei Salti, which is this medieval bridge with 2 arches built completely out of stone. And there's like the river that flows beneath it. It's really cool. And if you continue like 15-20 minutes further by car, you get to Sonogno, and there's a waterfall there, which is also really nice. You can hike up there and just see the waterfall and beautiful mountains around it.
And at the very beginning of the Versasca Valley, you also have the Versasca Dam, which was made world famous by James Bond. It was featured in the Bond movie GoldenEye in 1995. This is one of the 9 residents.
Here, kitty, 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 kitty. 9 residents and a lovely friendly cat.
This next town we're gonna go to is called Stein am Rhein, which is German for Stein on the Rhine River. And right as we're entering the town, we're walking across this bridge, which is actually over the Rhine River. This is one of the major rivers in Europe that runs through 6 countries.
This beautiful place is the main square.
The Rathausplatz. The town is absolutely stunning. We're gonna show it to you in a little bit, but first we're gonna go get some food because it is noon and I'm getting hungry. Well, that looks pretty close. Had the best currywurst der Welt here, the best curry sausage in the world. I guess we'll never know. So instead of going for takeaway bratwurst, we've actually come to a proper sit-down restaurant. Now, it's a little bit awkward filming here because even though the restaurant is almost full, nobody is saying a word. This is a potato rösti with meat and some cheese sauce. This is kind of like a hash brown, but the Swiss version. And on top of it, you have some meat and gorgonzola cheese. I'm salivating. It's so nice and soft on the inside. Ooh, I love this.
Swiss is a very wintry dish. I have one with bacon and onions and cheese on top. And I love like the Swiss approach to vegetables. They just put like this little wedge of tomato on top of it and that's it.
It tastes even better with some local Riesling white wine. So Stein am Rhein is one of the best preserved medieval towns in all of Switzerland. It only has about 3,000 people living here, but the concentration of just incredibly beautiful medieval buildings is off the charts. Look at this. This town is just like right out of a storybook. And what makes it so unique in particular is all these beautiful, delicately painted facades of the houses. It's just like they said, how are we gonna decorate the house? How about we let the painter decide? And the painter was like, I'll do it all. So this town actually used to be a very small fishing village until about the year 1000, when the government transferred the abbey, which is basically like a monastery, here to Stein am Rhein and gave them a lot of market rights. So that really facilitated the trade in this city and made for a big bloom of the economy. So in the year 1540, the town hall right behind me was built. It used to be a merchant house, but then it was converted to the city hall. Right next to it you also have the Restaurant Adler, where we just had our Rusty. It is one of the most visually captivating towns that I have ever seen in Europe.
Wow, look how clear the Rhine River is here. It's amazing. You ever seen this before in Europe?
If it wasn't so cold, I'd go for a swim.
And just a short drive away is also Rhine Falls, which is Europe's biggest waterfall. Really big, beautiful waterfall. It's really impressive. And you can also take a boat ride there, which is also really cool.
So we want to see a little bit more of Switzerland. We want to do a beautiful train ride in the mountains through the snow, but the weather is actually going to be really crappy the next couple of days. So the next video is going to be in Germany. We're going to go to Munich for a few days, maybe for a week, then come back to Switzerland. See you in the next one. Bye bye.